employing these niggas. Click, hung up, just stop talking to her, stop texting her, everything. This is what I get for trusting people I don't know. Has no respect for me, no respect for my time. Give me strength to not strangle you.
I ain't friendly. I don't what y'all try to take who it ain't enough for y'all. Oh, so phony got me looking at them sideways. It'll never be the same mother old days. I'm up now, give a what you think.
Alright, let me stop. So many people got me messed up last weekend, and so I had to make a story time. I haven't made a story time on my channel in years, but I was like, this one deserves a story time. And if you're new here, hi, hello, I'm Ebony Assassin. If you want to check out some of my story times, I've been in some crazy situations, but in the past couple of years, my life got really boring and then really traumatic, so I just stopped making story times. We getting back at it today, though. It all started where got me fucked up. No, I'm kidding. Before I got my corporate job that I have today, I was hustling. Every day I'm hustling. Every day I'm hustling. I used to be a bottle girl. I used to be a waitress, cocktail waitress, hospitality in general. You know, I used to work at hotels. I used to do all this stuff. I'm brand ambassador. This girl that I met in an audition, she actually posted on her Instagram, hey, any brand ambassadors, hit me up. I got this job for you. And she posted how much it was. And it was a hefty piece of change. Red flag number one is that she's like, we're leaving at 2 a.m. I saw this posting at 11 p.m. And I'm like, girl, I don't want to leave out anything. So let's just start from the very, very beginning. I met this person at an audition. We both did really well, and we ended up booking the roles on the spot. So a couple days later, I see her on Instagram and she posts something about, hey, any brand ambassadors that are interested in this gig? So I hit her up in DMs. I'm like, hey, is that spot still available? She's like, hey, yeah, call me real quick. So she calls me. She tells me about the gig. And then she tells me, oh, yeah, and it's going to be $60 for the rental. I'm thinking to myself, $60 for the rental? You're not using your own car? But I was like, okay, whatever. You know what I mean? $60 is not that much. So I feel like I have $60. It's no big deal. Within the conversation, she's like, yeah, and then it's going to be $65 for the rental. She repeats it, but says a different price. And I'm like, and then she was like, oh, let me call you back. And then she texted me talking about, hopefully we can return this rental by Sunday because on Monday it will be $88. You know what? I don't think that was for me. I could take accountability where it's like, this is honestly where I should have hung up, just stop talking to her, stop texting her, everything, because that's a red flag. She tells me, come to my house between 3 to 4 a.m. You said you had to leave at 2, but now it's 3 to 4. But then she's like, I forgot that it's in Birmingham, Alabama, so they're an hour behind, so we don't have to leave as early. And I'm like, all right, cool, whatever, girl. She lives 20 minutes away from me, no problem. She told me to call her when I get there. And I get there 10 minutes early, so I call her. It doesn't really sound like she was asleep, but I mean, she could have been. I don't know what people really sound like, you know? She's walking up to me. I'm parking. I turn my car off and get out the car. Tell me why, as I'm getting out the car, she's getting into my passenger seat. And I'm like, huh? And then she's looking at me like, oh yeah, we have to go get the rental. Excuse me? She did not mention this in the phone call. Let me tell you what she mentioned in the phone call, okay? She told me how much it was. She told me where it was going to be. She told me there was going to be a hotel, but there might be a twin bed, so I should bring a pillow and a blanket. She said that it's going to be for 2 days. She didn't mention that I had to go pick up this rental that we're going to be driving in. And by we, I mean her. She's driving. She knows where this is. She is the main contact for this gig. I'm like, all right, fine, whatever. This is some bullshit, but it's whatever. She has the GPS on her phone, so she's holding her phone. I was like, oh yeah, we can just use my phone to navigate. And she was just like, oh, okay. And I'm like, yeah, what's the address? I put in the address. Y'all, tell me why this place is 25 miles away. She did not pick a rental car in our city. No, she picked a rental car in Lawrenceville. That was crazy to me. I was just like, Lord. For the people that are not familiar with Georgia, okay, Atlanta to Lawrenceville, depending on where you are, is between 30 to 50 minutes. And I'm just like, you know what? She tried it, but we're already here. Before we drove there, though, I was like, oh, so I have to go drive you to there and then drive back here. She's like, yeah, so that's 50 miles on my car. Go do this at 3 o'clock in the morning. She comes in my car smelling like straight up gas. We get to the place, she picks up the car, we drive back to her house. Now, she's like, yeah, I gotta go get dressed, and then we can leave. It's gonna take about 15-20 minutes. This girl goes up to her apartment, doesn't say shit to me, doesn't do anything, doesn't offer me a glass of water, nothing. I'm outside sitting 4 o'clock in the morning, pitch dark, in an area I'm not familiar with, you know what I mean? I'm just like, to be honest, I didn't want to go in her house anyway. But it's just the principle of the matter. You know, you're supposed to be hospitable. 15, 20 minutes go by. I'm just contemplating to myself, girl, you should just drive off. This girl is lost it already. It's off to a bad start. As soon as I was like counting down, she came outside. She gets in the car with her cousin. Now we're on the road to the event. But then I asked her, I'm like, okay, so y'all are getting dressed. I'm not dressed. I'm in pajama pants. Are we stopping anywhere or whatever? Oh yeah, we're gonna stop so everyone can get dressed or get ready properly. Hour and a half into the ride, because it's a 2-hour ride, right? We stop at a gas station. She's like, yeah, you guys can get out to get dressed and ready. No, she's lying. I have to get ready and dressed in a in the gas station bathroom? Are you out of your mind? Now I know her place dirty as hell. Her place must stank dirty. Thankfully, the gas station was not that bad. So I was able to put my clothes on in there and put a little makeup on. I was standing on my sneakers so that my feet wouldn't hit the floor because for obvious reasons. And then I was on 45 minutes of sleep. So I was exhausted, right? I haven't slept yet. So then we get to the event. Turns out they get to work at this one station where there's a DJ, they're handing out coupons, they're just chilling for real. They're not doing like super manual labor type of thing. The station I had to work was with children. And now I love kids. But the thing about it is I was on 45 minutes of sleep and I have to deal with other people's bratty children. It was sending me. All of them were giving me back talk. They were all very like energetic and wild. And it was for 8 hours straight. So we had to work from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. And we had 2 breaks. Well, at least I did. I had 2 breaks and we could not eat within that time. At this event, all the lines are very long and we had to be back at a certain time. I just felt very exhausted. Like my whole body was hurting at this point by the time 3 o'clock ran around. And we had to do it both days, 7 a.m., 3 p.m., both days. I had to wait for her and her cousin to be done with whatever they had to be done with. After that, we were all tired. She contacted the manager from the agency. He apparently booked this freaking hotel that was 45 minutes away from the campground. It's given you could have just gave us gas money to drive from Atlanta to Birmingham because, we had to drive 45 minutes and she was complaining because she was like, oh my God, I can't have this much miles on the car, da 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 da. And in my head, I'm thinking, girl, you shouldn't have rented the car. And she was telling me in the car that the reason why she didn't use her car is because she had a bad engine and this, that, and the third. And I'm like, okay, does it make sense to go? No. If I knew more details, I would have said no. I would have said absolutely not. Also, before we even got on this trip, I told her that I had a table read that was on Sunday at 4:30 p.m. The table read was actually 4:30 p.m. PST. But I didn't tell her that part because I wanted her to hurry the hell up. Because she made it seem like she wanted to explore Birmingham, all this other stuff. I'm like, girl, we get in the bag and we going home. At least that's what you told me over the phone. Everything she told me over the phone did not happen. We get to the hotel and there's one bed. There's one bed for 3 people. And then she later told me that she had an audition due at 11 p.m. that night. Why did you take this job? Why did you agree to come here? I get it. Yeah, it's the weekend. Maybe you don't have work. Maybe you don't have anything else to do. But girl, this is what I get for trusting people I don't know. I don't know her from anywhere other than the audition. She seemed like a very ambitious, driven person, so I just went with it. I was just over it at this point. I was tired. My bones were aching. I was just like, I'm going to take a nap. I guess her and her cousin went to take a shower. Then they went out to go smoke. They're like, oh, do you smoke? Do you want to go? And I was just looking at them like, girl, no. I didn't say it like all that. I was just like, So then they go off on their thing. I take a nap. I wake up. She approaches me talking about, okay, so since it's raining, they pushed back the call time to 9:30. Is that okay? And I'm thinking, I mean, you asking me? I don't know. The next day, I wake up around 6, 7 o'clock. No, it was 6. I went to go get breakfast. I was chilling. I was going to take a shower, everything. And then I get text messages from this group chat talking about, oh, hey, where are you? We're already at the campground. And I'm just like, oh, I was told it was pushed back to 9:30. And then the manager of the company calls me and was like, who told you it was 9:30? And I told him, I was like, the little girl that recruited me to do this job, she told me that. And he's like, no love, your Google Doc didn't change, then it's definitely still the time it says on there. The time it says on there is 9 a.m. Doesn't even say 7:30. So I'm like, this man is coming at me sideways. he's really coming at me sideways. And I'm just like, I don't know. I just kind of cut him off and I was like, oh, okay. Because he was going, like, he was ready to go in and I was ready to cut some ass. I just kind of hang up the phone after. The girl comes back in the room. Let's call her something because it's really hard to talk about her like that girl. Let's name her Maria. So Maria comes in and then I tell her about it. I'm like, yeah, the manager just kind of came at me sideways saying that I had to be there at 7:30. And she's like, oh, well, I asked him about you and he didn't respond. And so in my head, I'm like, okay, so he didn't respond. So that wasn't even for me, but I didn't speak to nobody, so I'm not taking any responsibility, okay? Until she approached me, I was under the assumption it was 7:30. And it was already like 7 o'clock at this time. Since she started talking to me like, oh, well, he didn't even respond to me. He should do his job. And I'm just like, well, girl, he came at me sideways, so I'm just going to try to be calm. I'm going to the shower. I get out the shower and she tells me, did you hear me on the phone? And I was like, no. And she was like, I talked to him and I told him that I asked about you and he didn't respond. And he said, well, not gonna lie, I've been sipping LOL. I've been sipping? Who is employing these niggas? Honestly, at this point, I'm over it. I'm already like in the mindset that I'm gonna block her.
One. Block.
I'm not even gonna want to be her friend. I don't give a shit about talking to her. She's just like, he's just so unprofessional, da 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 da. And in my head, I'm like, okay, but you can take responsibility because I didn't know anything about this, but you knew, you asked, and he didn't say anything. Sounds like you didn't want to drive us 2 hours early because you didn't want to. Now I'm rushing to get ready because I'm 2 hours late now, whatever. And she's getting mad too because she's like, oh man, I really want to eat this breakfast. Even though earlier in the morning, I was trying to wake her up and say, hey, there's breakfast, like go eat some breakfast. And she wanted to sleep in. Me and the cousin went to go get breakfast at like 6. Now that we have to rush, she's talking about, oh, I'm so sad we can't eat breakfast. I ate mine. And then she had like 2 plates of breakfast. But all I know is I was gathering all my stuff and I went and put it in the car, right? And I'm putting it in the car and the cousin is sitting in the back. And as soon as I sit next to her in the back, Maria's sitting in the passenger seat. And Maria looked back at me and she's just like, oh, did you hear me? You're driving us to the venue. Don't. Why am I driving us to the venue is beyond me. I'm like, God, give me strength. And she's just looking at me like, yeah, ho, give me strength to not strangle you. So I had to drive 45 minutes. I planned to like spruce up myself. All I had time to do was shower, put lotion on, and my clothes. I look a hot mess. Now I have to drive 45 minutes to the venue. She's like, yeah, I said you were going to drive so that I can eat. And so she had 2 breakfast places she claimed she couldn't eat. Now she want to eat them now. I'm like, all right, cool, fine, whatever. I am driving to the event. She is not eating that food. She is on her phone. She talking to her cousin. She looking up new jobs because she's telling her cousin, oh, I need some more pictures of you. We need to do. And I'm like, what happened to eating the food? Isn't that the whole reason why I'm driving? I was so mad. I was just so irritated. So then we get there. I park. I'm sprucing up because I don't give a about them, right? And so they're sitting there trying to wait for me. And then she's like, hey, love, we're just going to walk off, okay? And I'm just like, yeah, okay. She's like, just lock the car. I get to my event station, and now I gotta pretend I give a about being late. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. There's so much miscommunication. I was told one time, and then I know you guys told me another time. And the guy's like, doing that white man face. Well, I already told you time. I'm just like, so sorry, but meanwhile, I really don't care. I'm never gonna see you again. Honestly, I just don't care. But in the moment, I had to pretend that I cared about the job so that the company doesn't get in trouble, even though they should. Maria should get in trouble, And she's just like, yeah, you shouldn't be penalized for being late because, it wasn't your fault. She doesn't get anything taken off because she was on time. I was late. So at this point, I block her on my phone. And then the event ends, right? What I found funny, hilarious, and super happy is that I could just walk off my event site. Like, she had to, like, do manual labor, put the tent up, put the tent down, do all this stuff. The guy that I was working with, he's like, oh, okay, bye. You don't have to do anything. I'm like, thank you so much. The day before, when we were driving to the hotel, she asked me and her cousin, do you guys want to drive somewhere where we can take a nap, or did you want to just go straight home? Girl, what the hell? We're going straight home. So I was like, I have a table read on Sunday, so I really want to get home as soon as possible. And she was like, your Zoom call table read? There's that attitude again. There's that attitude again, because she had an attitude with me when I was looking at her like, what are you doing? When she sat in my car, like I was supposed to just automatically drive to Lawrenceville. And I'm like, yeah, my mother Zoom call meeting. She's just like, oh, well, you're not going to make it regardless. You'll just have it in the car and we'll be quiet. She has no respect for me. She has no respect for my time. She has no respect for anything that I'm doing for her in this moment. By 7:30, we should be home because the event is over at 2 or 3. Oh my god, this is so exhausting to even talk about. Fast forward back to the second day and the event's over and we're leaving. And then she asked me, oh, did you want me to stop at a park so you can do your table read? Now you give a now you care. And so I'm just like, no, I'm good. I just want to go home. And she's like, yeah, I feel that. Like, this was what a weekend. What a weekend. Oh, yeah, they gave us a $10 stipend for food. $10, yes. We stopped at Burger King and I believe Popeyes. I had an Impossible Burger. Her cousin had whatever she had at Burger King, and then she had Popeyes. She kept asking, well, do you want me to give you the $10 or do you want me to get it for you? And it's just like, give me the $10. I said that twice, 3 times actually.
Would you like $1 or do you want to double it and give it to the next person?
Give me the dollar.
I'm saying, do you want the dollar or do you want to double it and give it to the next person so the next person gets $2?
Give me the dollar. You said if I want $1.
No, you're not getting a dollar.
She still didn't want to give me the $10. And then she's like, okay, let me do separate orders so that you can pay for it and then I can give you the $10. Ended up being on one check. Well, that was actually the cashier's fault. So the total ended up being $20 or something. I don't know why she didn't cash that, but I didn't give a shit at this point. When the cashier charged her card for the $20, she's like, no, this was 2 separate orders, da 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 da. And the cashier was like, oh, well, I can refund it to you, but it will be 10 business days. And then she kept talking about, oh yeah, I have something wrong with my card. Somebody tried to hack into my account, so I can't even use my card, blah, blah, blah. Then how did you get this rental and how did you just pay for our food? Like, I just feel like there's a lot that she wasn't telling me. Also, when I told her, oh, well, if you have a bad engine and they really wanted you to come on this trip, they should be paying for your rental. And she was like, oh, well, they're giving me a stipend for gas. I think that's a lot. I don't know. There's just a lot that she omitted in this situation, but it's fine. I was like, look, I can just give you back whatever the difference is because I know my meal was a little over $10. She was just like, no, it's all good because it evens out. Like, her meal was $8, yours was like $11. It's all good. When we were leaving, she stopped at the same gas station. This is the worst part in my opinion. I go in there, I buy some food to eat, about like a pizza or something, and then I go into the car and I'm thinking, what is that smell? Tell me how and why I stepped into human and it's all over the side of my sneaker. And I don't even smell it till we're like 10, 15 minutes in on the highway. Oh, I'm burning these shoes. And they both laughing, oh my god, that's crazy. And I'm like, you were bad luck. I did end up throwing those sneakers out because, But on the positive side, I will be getting some money. I just kept wanting to fast forward the 2 days. 2 days felt like a week. I wanted to be as far away from them as possible. Like, they kept trying to be like, oh, do you want to do this? No, I don't want to elongate any time with you. I mean, good luck on the rental, good luck on everything else in your life, but I'm not doing it. But anyway, if you like this video or see more videos or more story times, I'm sure I could think of some things that I've been through. But this was some bullshit. I'm out.